towels, and I forgot to wash them. I'm gonna have so much time during the day, and I have to be there to take them. So Mike's doing. As I separate it. Well, I'll tell John. I'll say, can you put the towels in the rack? Oh yeah. It doesn't happen, and I don't like him leaving it.
I do all the cooking. I pay the bills.
My husband
and I clean and vacuum.
No, I wasn't here last week.
All right, I'd like to call to order the meeting of the August 16th Santa Barbara County Air Pollution Control District. May I get a roll call, please?
Director Hartman?
Here.
Adam?
Here.
Sierra? Clark?
Sierra's going to be late. She's on her way.
Thank you. Clark?
Here.
Bennett?
Here.
Lizalde?
Here.
Mosby?
Here.
Murillo?
Here.
Patino?
Here.
Richardson?
Here.
Williams?
Here.
Wolf? Here. And Chair Lavanino.
I am here. Please join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready?
Yeah.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, that takes us to item 3. Mr. Dillon, can you talk to us about closed session, please?
Mr. Chair, there's one item in closed session, and after the clerk reads it, we can move into closed session. Thank you.
Okay.
Closed session is conference with labor negotiators, Government Code Section 54957.6. District designated representative is ARLIN, GENET. Employee organizations are Engineers and Technicians Association, Service Employees International Union Local 620, and Santa Barbara County Air Pollution Control District Employees Association. Unrepresented employees are the management and confidential unrepresented employees.
Thank you. And Mr. Dillon, do you have an estimated time?
15, 20 minutes.
Okay, and are we going to the big room?
We're over
All
here.
right,
Yes,
we'll be
sir.
back in 15 minutes.
6.
All right, we are reconvening. And Mr. Dillon, can we get a report from closed session, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The board took no action in closed session that requires a report. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. We'll move now to item 5, the approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of June 21st?
Mr. Chair.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Director Hartman?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Sierra? Aye. Clark? Bennett?
Aye.
Lizalde?
Aye.
Mosby?
Aye.
Murillo?
Aye.
Patino?
Aye.
Richardson?
Aye.
Williams?
How'd we lose him already?
All right, Director Wolf? And Chair Lavanino.
Abstain. Missed the last meeting. Okay, we moves us on to item 6. Yes.
We skipped an agenda item. Your APCO report?
No.
I still don't see it. That's item 8, Mr. Dillon. I'll get you one of these things later. It's okay. We had a meeting beforehand. He got me. All right. We are moving on to item 6, administrative items. Is there any items that the public has pulled that they wish to speak on? No. No? Any items that board members would like to pull? Seeing none? Can I get a motion to move administrative items?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Director Hartman?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Sierra? Aye. Clark? Aye. Bennett?
Aye.
Lizalde?
Aye.
Mosby? Aye. Murillo?
Aye.
Patino?
Aye.
Richardson?
Aye.
Williams?
Aye.
Wolf? Aye. And Chair Lavanino.
Aye. Moves us to item 7, which is public comment. Do we have any speaker requests?
We do have one speaker, Mr. Mike Woods.
Mr. Woods.
I guess we're ready? Okay. Chair Lavanino, board members, my name is Mike Woods. I'm the Field Operations Supervisor for SEIU Local 620, and we represent employees with the Air Pollution Control District. I'm here to speak to you today on their behalf. Over the last several years, the employees of the Air Pollution Control District that we represent have not received actual salary increases. They have been receiving one-time money. One-time money does not help these folks to improve their lives, take care of their families. You know, it's just not feasible. Okay, we've got the consumer price index. If you look at that right now for the prior 6 months of this year, it's at a 3.8% increase. That does not help these folks when these prices are going up like that. And the folks that we represent are some of, or not even, they could even be the lowest paid employees within the district, the Air Pollution Control District. What we'd like to do is have you consider giving them a decent contract with an appropriate salary increase at this time. Okay? Again, it's been, at least I know of 4 years that they have not received a salary increase. It's all been one-time monies. And again, like I say, one-time money does not help folks move forward. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, that moves us to item 8, the much anticipated director's report.
Thank you. All right, first off, I'd like to introduce 3 new staff to our planning division. Emily Waddington. She is from Massachusetts, and she studied biology at Boston University. She recently graduated with a master's degree in environmental science and management from UCSB, where she specialized in pollution prevention. In the past year, she was an air quality inspector for the San Diego County Air Pollution Control District, and recently joined the district as an air quality specialist in our planning division. To name a few projects, she's currently working on the launch of our wood smoke reduction program, heavy-duty diesel on-road incentive program, and doing CEQA review. Next is Desmond Ho. Desmond grew up in San Francisco Bay Area and has been living in Southern California for the past 12 years, so I haven't asked him if he's a Dodger or a Giants fan. But he has a bachelor's degree in biology, 2 biologists there, from San Diego State University. He worked on Catalina Island as an outdoor educator for 4 years, and he also earned a master's degree at the UCSB's Brin School of Environmental Science and Management. In the planning division, Desmond will be working on vessel speed reduction program, launching our Clean Air Ambassadors program, grants, and CEQA review. And lastly, we have Mike McKay. No stranger to the Air Pollution Control District. He's been an established air quality inspector working out of our North County office since January of 2011. He led our district's efforts in our variance program with our hearing board and a lead inspector for oil and gas operations. He has a degree, and it will come in handy. He had a city and regional planning degree from Cal Poly. And with that degree, he'll be working in the planning division, working on land use review, and also leading many of the grant programs that we're working on, and you're going to hear more about actually at this board meeting. In Santa Maria, we have a lot of agricultural related and on-road projects that he will take in the lead. So please join me in welcoming the new staff to our planning division. I have 3 other items. I'll go quick on these. First up, we had a late hit today actually on a legislative item. There's been word that Assembly Bill 271 will be gutted and amended. That project's in the works, and the language is now being floated in Sacramento to replace the current piece of legislation that's listed as a PACE bill. This bill has been inactive on the Senate floor since the summer of 2017, and amendments are being proposed by the Wine Institute to remove the Air District's authority to require VOC control devices on wine fermentation equipment. The language is specific to our efforts to define achieved in practice backed for the permit that was issued with Central Coast Wine Services and what we negotiated through the appeal process with our hearing board. As you recall, the Central Coast Wine Services has successfully been using this technology since 2013, and upon issuance of the permit, they have actually elected to use it on all their tanks, but not just those associated with the permit expansion, but every tank that they have out of the Santa Maria. For AB 2071, in order for AB 27 amendments to occur, the bill would need a 2/3 vote to come off the inactive list. Then it would be amended on the Senate floor. It would then be sent back to one or more committees, such as the Rules or the Environmental Quality Committee. As a control officer, I oppose this bill, and I'm working with the California Air Pollution Officers Association, CAPCOA, and hopefully their opposition follows as well. I'll report back to your board at our next meeting on any development associated with this potential piece of legislation. The next item relates to prescribed burns. There's been a lot of discussion as it relates to fuel management and the use of prescribed burns, both locally and at the state level. Governor Brown recently formed a committee, the California Forest Management Task Force, with representatives from state, local, tribal, and federal agencies to protect environmental quality, public health, and economic benefits for healthy forests throughout the state. I will be participating in the Southern Regional Group of this task force to ensure that we stay apprised of the tools and resources available to Air District so we can assist in local prescribed burns that occur throughout our county. Also at the state level, $7 million has been earmarked for air quality support for prescribed burns. $2 million of that 7 will be for Air District staff, in particular, forecast training, modeling, and partial staffing, and CAPCOA will be working on how to allocate that $2 million statewide. There's another $5 million that's available for the purchase of equipment, such as weather stations, portable particulate matter monitors, and satellite uplink capability. And then locally, I've been working with Santa Barbara County Fire, U.S. Forest Service. We also have been working with Vandenberg Air Force Base to unify our approach with the implementation of prescribed burns. For the remainder of 2018, there's a total of 14 potential burns in the county that are roughly over 1,500 acres in total if all of those burns were to actually occur. The district staff works with each of the lead agencies to ensure that the smoke management plans are developed in a way to minimize impacts to sensitive receptors. We also work on the public notification aspect of these burns to ensure that the general public is aware. Once the burn window has been defined, we work with the lead burner to issue a press release to educate them on when, where, and why the burn's being proposed. And we also issue media alerts and social media to ensure that folks are informed and aren't caught by surprise when they see smoke, if they see smoke associated with these prescribed burns. In addition, we do deploy portable devices throughout the communities to assess the air quality impacts beyond what we may be seeing from our existing network. So that's a very useful tool, and that information is also uploaded into our website so the general public can see as well. And the last item, it relates to monitoring, mobile monitoring device, and this is something that I've been talking about as it relates to H2S in the Goleta area, or even PM and other impacts that might occur countywide that are basically in pocket areas where we don't have existing network. We have been trying to find ways to secure funding to make this possible. Currently in the board-approved budget, we have $50,000 that have been earmarked to purchase a sensor device. We did the cost for this, and it's closer to $100,000. I've been working through CAPCOA, and actually at the last board meeting, I was able to secure the other $50,000 through the implementation of AB 617. So we have the quote to move forward with this. It would be a tow-behind trailer that would be basically in a case that would include multiple monitoring devices. So we're going to be pulling all that information together and present it back to your board for consideration at the next meeting in October. So that concludes my director's report.
All right, thank you very much. Supervisor Williams, Director Williams.
Who's the author of the Gut and Amend?
The author is Ana Caballero out of Salinas.
Okay. So want to welcome the new employees. I don't know if we're getting older or they're getting younger, but something's going on there, so that's good. All three of you don't. You're
getting older.
I'm getting older, yeah. All right, let's move on to our discussion items. Item 9, so the first one is the resolution of appreciation for Mary Bird. Sarah?
All right. Adopt a resolution of appreciation for Mary Bird upon the occasion of her retirement.
Aaron, you want to handle this?
Molly Pearson, Division Manager for Plain Division, will present the proclamation, or the resolution.
Is this on? Yeah. Great. I've worked with Mary for 10 years now, so I feel honored to read her resolution. Come on up, Mary. Join me. Whereas Mary Bird has had an outstanding career working at the district, eventually working her way up to the positions of Public Information Officer and Community Program Supervisor at the Santa Barbara County Air Pollution Control District since December 1997. Mary's background in writing and journalism helped provide agency information and notice to the public on critical air quality issues and programs in furtherance of the district's mission of protecting the health of all of Santa Barbara County. And whereas in 1998, Mary founded the Santa Barbara Car-Free Project, known then as Take a Vacation from Your Car, which received multiple awards, including a 2009 National Clean Air Excellence Award from the US EPA. And Mary, whereas Mary, working with educators in all parts of the county, started an internship program with UCSB Bren School in 2000, and in 2004 formed a partnership with the Santa Barbara County Education Office, supporting multiple curriculum development and teacher grant projects. And whereas Mary coordinated the district's participation in community events to celebrate clean air and educate the public, including the Santa Barbara Car-Free Program, Earth Day events, and other events throughout Santa Barbara County. And whereas Mary supported marine shipping initiatives, including vessel speed reduction incentive programs in 2014, 2016, 2017, expanded to the San Francisco Bay Area, and 2018 expanded to a fleet approach, and a year-long marine shipping working group process in 2015, the district and partners were recognized with the 2016 US EPA National Clean Air Excellence Award for 2014 and 15 efforts. And whereas, as Community Program Supervisor, Mary provided staff support for many district programs, including wood smoke reduction, CEQA review, media relations, social media, district website, and emerging sensor technologies. And now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that the Air Pollution Control District Board of Directors expresses its great appreciation to Mary Bird for her more than 20 years of service and recognizes her contribution to improving the air quality of Santa Barbara County and sincerely wishes her well in her retirement and future endeavors. And we have a little gift. This is a coveted watch from the district with the logo and everything. You have to get your own battery, though.
Yeah.
There you go. Thanks, Mary.
I would like to say thank you to all the wonderful people I've worked with at the district over the years, all the dedicated, passionate, intelligent, smart, fun people, and in the community as well, all the community partners, and to everyone dedicated to clean air. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary, and we wish you well. All right, that takes us to item 2. Sarah, want to read that?
Item number 2 is to establish the fiscal year 2018-19 electric vehicle charging station infrastructure program spending limit at an amount not to exceed $135,000 that includes A, grants for public entity projects, and B, grants for private and nonprofit entity projects located at multi-unit dwellings with 20 or more units.
Okay, Aaron?
Alex Economou, Air Quality Specialist in our Planning Division, will provide the presentation on this item.
If I can figure out how to get to the front of the slideshow.
We have faulty equipment here, don't worry about it. Yeah. Oh, so we did not take a vote on the retirement of Mary Bird, so I know she left, but she might not be able to go. So can I get a motion to move item 1?
I'm going to just keep on talking for like about another 6 months so she can't leave yet. So
all right.
Someone give me a phone book.
Yeah, so we got a motion and a second. Let's do a roll call.
Okay, Director Hartman?
Aye.
Adam? Aye. Sierra? Aye. Clark? Aye. Bennett? Aye. Lizalde?
Aye.
Mosby? Aye. Murillo?
Aye.
Patino?
Aye.
Richardson? Aye. Williams?
Aye.
Wolf? Aye. And Chair Lavanino?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, so how we doing? Alex? All right.
All right, good afternoon, Chair Lavanino, members of the board. I'm Alex Economou, an air quality specialist here at the Air Pollution Control District. And today I'm going to give you a brief presentation on the district's electric vehicle charging station infrastructure program. Specifically, the purpose of this discussion item is to establish funding eligibility for private and nonprofit projects located at multi-unit dwellings, in addition to all public entities. There are 9 slides in total. Before I dive into the updates that staff is proposing, I'd like to give some background on the current state of electric vehicles in California and Santa Barbara County. As you are probably aware, the current administration has set ambitious targets for the growth of the electric vehicle market in the state. In January of this year, Governor Brown issued an executive order setting a target to put 5 million zero-emission vehicles on the road by 2030 and to install 250,000 electric vehicle charging stations in the state by 2025. As of July 2018, there are approximately 421,000 electric vehicles on the roads in California, and this represents about half of all of the electric vehicles in the United States. In Santa Barbara County, we estimate that there are approximately 2,200 EVs on the road and 100 public charging stations. As the amount of electric vehicles on the road increases, so too does the usage of the public charging stations. At the APCD's Santa Barbara office, we have 3 charging stations, and from 2016 and 2017, we witnessed a 78% increase in charging usage at our 3 stations. Similarly, entities that have done grants with us have reported increases in the usage of their charging stations. And this is a map of some of the charging stations in our county from plugshare.com. Coinciding with our EV program, the district is involved in several collaborative efforts with other agencies in the Central Coast to promote the development of electric vehicle charging infrastructure in the region. Since 2011, the district has been on the steering committee of Plug-in Central Coast, which is composed of the Central Coast Clean Cities Coalition, Community Environmental Council of Santa Barbara, and the air pollution control districts of Ventura, Santa Barbara, and San Luis Obispo counties. Plug-in Central Coast has worked on several grants over the years, including the preparation of an electric vehicle readiness plan for the region, as well as a grant that is currently underway to implement the readiness plan. Through this grant, which is called the Central Coast Go Zero Implementation Grant, the district and its partners are offering a limited number of free electric vehicle supply equipment site assessments to interested parties, with the goal of leveraging funding from our EV program to expand the network of charging stations in our county. On this slide, we have a map showing all the charging stations that we've funded and where they're located throughout the county. There are 25 stations that have been funded to date, with a few more currently in the pipeline. Charging equipment is classified by the rate at which batteries are charged. The charging stations on the slide represent a mix of level 2 and level 3 charging stations. Level 2 chargers can add anywhere from 10 to 25 miles of range per hour of charging. All electric vehicles have a charge port that is compatible with level 2 charging equipment, or they have adapters that allow them to charge. And the term charge port just refers to the reciprocal on the vehicle where the charger gets plugged into that actually delivers electricity. Pricing for level 2 charging varies throughout the county, with some entities offering charging for free and others having pricing structures based on per hour or per kilowatt hour rates. Level 3 charging, also referred to as DC fast charging, currently can give electric vehicles about an 80% charge in 20 to 30 minutes of charging. However, new technology is rapidly improving, and ultra-fast chargers are starting to become available that can charge vehicles and add about 200 miles of range in about 8 to 10 minutes. Unlike level 2 charging, electric vehicles haven't adopted a ubiquitous level 3 charge port, and there are 3 different standards. The CHAdeMO standard is currently the most common type of charger and is used by Nissan, Mitsubishi, Honda, and Kia models. The SAE combo charging system is used by GM, BMW, Volkswagen, and Ford, and Tesla has its own charging standard that's used to charge its 3 models. Level 3 charging tends to be more expensive than level 2 and often has a pricing structure based on per minute, per session, or per kilowatt hour rates, or sometimes a combination of the 3. On this slide, we have a few pictures of EV charging stations that have been installed with funding from the district's grant program. And I apologize for the members of the room that I put up on these slides, but the 2 pictures on the left are both level 2 charging stations, and the picture in the middle and on the right side are level 3 chargers. Hold on one second. Let's just try this one more time, and if it doesn't work, I can just go off the cusp. Alrighty, this table is in your board packet and is another visual that displays all the charging stations that have been funded to date, with the specific equipment and grant amounts listed. As you can see, most of the projects that we've done are with public entities, but we've also worked with a nonprofit and a private entity. Before I go over staff's recommendation, this slide details the background of the district's electric vehicle charging station program. The program was initially established in 2011 with an initial $100,000 budget available for public entities. Once that initial allocation was fully expended, we came back to the board in 2015 and the overall program spending limit was increased by an additional $200,000. This time with limited funding available for private and nonprofit entities. This past June, the district's fiscal year 2018-2019 budget was approved, allocating an additional $135,000 for the EV program. All right, this leads me to staff's recommendation for how to spend this year's budget. Staff recommends establishing the fiscal year 2018-2019 electric vehicle charging station infrastructure program spending limit at an amount not to exceed $135,000. That includes grants for public entity projects, as well as grants for private and nonprofit entity projects that are located at multi-unit dwellings with 20 or more units. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, drivers of electric vehicles do more than 80% of their charging at home. Increasing the availability of electric vehicle charging stations at multi-unit dwellings provides Santa Barbara County residents with more transportation fueling options and allows for additional reductions in mobile source emissions. We have already seen an interest in our grant program from several multi-unit dwellings in the county, including People's Self-Help Housing, the Housing Authority of Santa Barbara County, the Taubes Group, and Vermont Development, among others. And we're hopeful that we can make charging more convenient and accessible for residents of Santa Barbara County. Both the EV Readiness Plan and the Central Coast Go Zero Grant acknowledge the importance of installing charging stations at multi-unit dwellings and offer recommendations for implementation. And before I conclude, I'd just like to note that staff's recommendation doesn't change the board-approved siting requirements, and these projects would still be accessible to the public 24/7.
Okay, great.
And with that, I'd like to open it up to any questions or discussion from the board.
Why don't we go to the public first? I think there's a public speaker.
Yeah, we have one public speaker, Cameron Gray.
Chair Lavagninho, board members, thank you for the opportunity to comment. My name is Cameron Gray, and I'm speaking on behalf of Community Environmental Council. So as Alex mentioned, we are one of the founding members of Plug-in Central Coast. I'm excited to share with you that we've been working with APCD and our other partners in Ventura County and San Luis Obispo County to launch a new initiative called Electric Drive 805, and we're going to be rolling that out soon. It's been a great pleasure to just work with APCD staff. They have really helped to move so many aspects of work forward that will support people's increased adoption of electric vehicles. The proposal before you today is something that our organization fully supports, with one or two comments on ways that it might be able to be improved. You have in your board packet a note that says that there is a 24/7 accessibility requirement that would remain in effect. So what I would pose to you is that if this funding increase were to happen and it were to focus on the residential multifamily dwellings that it is proposed to focus on, what would the value of a charging station parking space be if a member of the public who does not live at that apartment complex is plugging in their vehicle to charge there? would that achieve the goal of giving tenants of that apartment complex access to that charging station? So that is a question that I pose to you and staff today. But I do really want to highlight the need to have these charging stations at the apartment complexes that they are proposed for. As you may have heard, there was a report that was released that showed that Santa Barbara is third in California for counties at poverty levels. We're behind Los Angeles and Santa Cruz counties. And transportation costs make up 22% of a person's, an average Santa Barbara County resident's expenses here. Electric vehicles can help them cut their transportation expenses with the clean vehicle rebates that are available today. And in some cases, they can lease a vehicle at virtually no cost for 1 to 2 years. This would be a huge benefit for low-income households. But many of those low-income households are also renters, and they do not have access to charging where they live. So by giving them access to that charging and ensuring that it is available when they need it, we can take a step to help them save money and also support our local air quality. Transitioning into an electric vehicle is one of the few direct actions that we can take to make sure that our air is clean. So I just want to thank the APCD staff for moving that vision forward, and it's always a pleasure to be before you. I thank you for considering the comments today.
Thank you. All right, I'll kick it to the board. Questions, comments? Director Williams?
Well, Cameron, you pose a tough question. I think that you go with the complexes that first allow you to do 24/7, and if some of the funds are unexpended and we find instead a complex that's willing to have it public 12 hours of the day, then you start going to that. Because, and how I think 24/7 accessibility is actually friendly to the tenants is that in my, this is not scientific information, this is anecdotal. In my experience at charging stations located in multifamily dwelling units in Ventura, where there's a little bit more of them than here, that if you don't have someone charging consistently in that spot, then residents start parking there that do not have electric vehicles, and then no one can charge there. And so the 24/7 accessibility may help. That's a concept, not a fact. It may help instead of hurt. I actually think there's a real chicken and egg quandary here, and I think what would be particularly interesting is if you work with any of those multifamily developers to have a car share program at the same time. Some new developments are doing that, because if you have the chargers before you have the cars, then you tend to have the problem that I just cited, and if you have the cars before the chargers, then you don't have any place to charge. So there's a little bit of a chicken and egg quandary that is solved if there's, a car share as part of the development. So some developments go, okay, hey, I could reduce my parking requirements if residents of are buying time on the car as part of their rent, and you can have less vehicles parked there. There's a project being proposed on Ortega Street that does exactly that, and I think we'll see more of those down the line. So I encourage you to be at least open or suggest to some developers to do that together.
Director Hartman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a technical question. This is a grant. Do the hosts pay anything, or do we pay for the entire cost?
We've seen varying levels of costs shared, but yeah, generally they have some share of the upfront costs, and then there's ongoing maintenance costs that they pay.
And a recent example actually is going before the Board of Supervisors on the 28th of August, where we entered a grant with the county for a few of them, and it was nice to see here the general fund for the fiscal analysis section provided a demonstration of $14,547 from the general fund, and that was combined with an APCD grant of $20,000 as one example.
Director Wolf.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the chart of the EV charging station program summary, yes, this one here, do we go back to see the use of these charging stations?
Yes, we have that data. I didn't put it up on a slide, but as part of our grants, they're all 3-year terms, so we get 3 years worth of usage data. So we have that information, and it's shown increases over the years. But once those entities hit their 3 years, they're not required to send us usage data anymore.
Okay, and are there any that maybe show some concern that they're not being used to the extent that we might have expected, or are they pretty much up to what we would expect?
I can't think of any that haven't been getting a lot of usage. Some have gone down for like maintenance, repairs, and replacements from time to time, but I think they've all been had their replacements or maintenance done, and they're back up and running.
Okay, thank you. And then just a final question: when you get your grant submittals, do you have a team of people who review the grant to decide who gets the grant and how much, or how does that work from the department?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I get the applications sent to me, and then I work with my supervisors, so Jim and Molly here, and we'll talk about if there's potential problems with the grants, we'll work through them, and then it's really a pretty open discussion that we have with the applicants to kind of work through some of the things. For a lot of these charging stations, it's still a fairly new concept, so it's a big learning curve for everybody out there. So we've used it as a good opportunity to really hash out some things that we think could be better with the applicants. But yeah, everything's fully vetted through our agency, and there's lots of levels of review.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Director Williams.
I could just tell you a report on about half of those. The UCSB ones are almost fully subscribed most weekdays. As is the SBCC ones. The SB Harbor, because City of Santa Barbara charges a very high per hour charge, is less well used, but sees pretty decent usage still, despite the amount that they use. The City of Goleta's one is pretty new, but is pretty well utilized. That Buellton one, if that's the one I think it is, because it's only level 3 in Buellton, is like twice as fast as any other level 3 in the county, and so extremely popular. I think it has 2, and I don't know about the other ones. Oh, and the ones at dealerships tend to also be well utilized, though not as much as the ones at the educational institutions.
Director Wolf.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I just wanted to make sure that you folks are following this. But Mr. Williams brings up an interesting point about one particular location where the charge is higher and hence is less. It would seem to me that we should, if we are providing these grants, that whoever gets this money should make an agreement on how much they're going to charge, because we want them to be used and we don't. So anyway, it seems like there should be a ceiling on how much they are allowed to charge. Just a thought when you're reviewing the applications. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Anything else? All right. Can I get a motion on item 2?
Second.
To what we have for staff recommendations A and B. Okay. There's a motion from Director Wolf, second by Director Williams. Roll call.
Director Hartman? Aye. Adam? Aye. Sierra? Aye. Clark? Aye. Bennett? Aye. Lazalde?
Aye.
Mosby?
Aye.
Murillo?
Aye.
Patino?
Aye.
Richardson? Aye. Williams?
Aye.
Wolf? Aye. And Chair Lavanino.
Aye. All right, that takes us to item 3. Sarah, can you read it in, please?
All right, item number 3 is to adopt a resolution resulting in the following actions. A, authorize the district's participation in the California Air Resources Board's funding agriculture replacement measures for emission reductions program. And B, delegate authority to the control officer to enter into a grant agreement with CARB for the farmer program.
All right, Aaron.
All right, this is a follow-up basically to our last meeting when we had a lot of new grant programs that the legislature had been awarding to the states. The voluntary incentive programs are extremely successful and growing in their support at the legislative level. So this is the last one, I think, of the new grant programs that we're going to be rolling out this year. And today, Jim Fredrickson, the supervisor for the Planning Division, will provide the presentation.
All right.
Thank you, Aaron. Good afternoon, Chair Lavanino, board members. Today we are seeking your approval to enter into a grant agreement with the California Air Resources Board to accept approximately $670,000 in farmer program grant funds. Okay, let's hope this works. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're going to need a reimbursement on that from the county.
Ooh.
Well, we can't get a new mouse, that's for sure.
Yeah, we have locked up here. Yeah, everything's locked up.
You touched it last.
do they have hard copy?
This doesn't have anything to do with farmer.com, does it?
Okay.
It's called Ken's Full Employment Program.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll keep talking. Slide 2. Oh, yeah, there we go. All right, we're on board here. Okay, here we go. All right, here's a definition of farmer. In the next several slides, I will discuss the farmer funds, what type of projects can be funded with farmer, where those projects can be located, an example of an ag project that we did last year, this year's grant funding programs, and finally, staff recommendations. 2018 is the first year of the farmer program, and the California Air Resources Board allocated $135 million statewide and another $132 million budgeted for next fiscal year. The farmer funds are derived from the state's Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, Air Quality Improvement Program, and the Alternative and Renewable Fuel and Vehicle Technology Fund. The farmer fund allocations were based on ag equipment inventories in each participating air district. The ag equipment inventory data was based on annual U.S. Department of Ag surveys and a comprehensive survey conducted by Cal State Fresno. As mentioned earlier, our portion of the farmer funds this fiscal year is approximately $670,000. The farmer funds are to be exclusively expended on agricultural projects. Potential projects could include on-road diesel trucks used in ag operations, diesel tractors, diesel ag water pump engines, and diesel utility terrain vehicles. The farmer funds are to be expended in low-income communities throughout Santa Barbara County. According to the state, this is the current low-income map. In general, the map covers Cuyama, Santa Maria, Guadalupe, Casmalia, Vandenberg, and portions of Lompoc, Goleta, Santa Barbara, and Carpinteria. I can provide you with more detailed information on the map if you're interested. Oh, no.
Well, while you're dealing with that, I have a question. So I see that we only get 0.5% of the total funds, whereas San Joaquin Valley gets 80%. Is that based on, it says direct district ag equipment inventory, is that because they have more or they have worse equipment than us? And they have worse air than us?
It's based on the USDA survey that was conducted, and there's a lot of questions about the emissions inventory and the tractor inventory statewide that California Air Resources Board is working on that right now, but it was also very successful with the San Joaquin Valley Air District in negotiating with the legislature to secure such a significant amount. It wasn't a pretty fight, but the San Joaquin Valley won. And we're working on that further to get a more accurate count and depiction of our county.
They don't have 80 times as many things, do they, as we do?
Yeah, they probably do.
Maybe?
Yeah.
This story unfolds in a different version every year in the legislature. They some would say hold things hostage.
Yeah.
Well, you called on me.
Yep.
One glaring hole in this thing is the fact that if you're on the APCD board, you can't apply for these grants. And as you go through life and talk to the Capcoa people in the state, I mean, this Durant guy here is my neighbor, and he's getting a new tractor, and I'm not. So we have lots and lots of them, and they all apply. I mean, they all comply. They all are eligible, but we can't apply for the grants. It's illegal, apparently, for us to apply for the grants. So if you want to take some real live tractors out of circulation, I have a whole bunch of them, but I can't apply yet. So if you can fix that.
Dang, conflict of interest.
Awesome.
All right. All right, let's move forward.
Okay.
Well, and here's Mr. Durant. So here's an example of a diesel tractor replacement project from last year. We conducted a pre-inspection prior to offering any grant funds to the applicant. We took photos and videos to document and ensure that the equipment matched the application and that the tractor engine and hour meter were operable. After the grant agreement was issued, the grantee ordered the new equipment and we conducted a post-inspection at the dealership prior to the grantee taking delivery. We took photos and videos to document and ensure that the new equipment matched the scope of work in the grant agreement and that the tractor engine and hour meter were operable. After the grantee took possession of the new equipment and before they were reimbursed the grant funds, we conducted a salvage inspection to verify that the equipment from the pre-inspection matched the destroyed equipment. We took videos and photos to document and ensure that the engine and drivetrain were rendered inoperable.
I'm not sure exactly.
This fiscal year, we have nearly $2 million in grant funds budgeted and plan to expend it on projects related to off-road equipment, marine engines, ag tractors and engines, and on-road trucks and buses. The state has provided over $200,000 for staff to implement these grant programs. To expend the $2 million in clean air grant funds this fiscal year, we plan to open a solicitation for projects in mid-September. This will be a first-come, first-served opportunity with grant projects not to exceed $150,000 or 85% of the total project cost, whichever is lower. For information on the grants, people are encouraged to visit our website or email us. Early next month, we will be sending out emails to hundreds of people with details on the grants and placing ads in newsletters with the County Ag Commission, County Sustainability Committee, and the Farm Bureau. We also plan to meet with the county's Ag Advisory Committee next month. In conclusion, we are asking the board to approve our participation in the state's farmer program and authorize the APCO to sign the grant agreement with the state. And here is the staff contact information for the farmer program. Please let me know if you have any questions.
All right, Sarah, do we have any requests to speak from the public?
No, we do not.
Okay, let's open it up to the board. Questions, comments? Director Murillo.
Sir, I'm assuming all the funds, so we're in the first year right now, and so there's nothing left over, right? There's a lot of interest and competition for that's why you say first come, first serve?
Chair Lavanino, Board Member Marino, for the farmer program, this is the inaugural year, and the state did an allocation by, as we mentioned before, kind of they did the ag inventory, population of ag equipment, and this is our portion. And so for our solicitation, we have $2 million, so we are doing first come, first serve for applicants to apply for farmer funds or those other funds. I can pull them up here. The variety of funds, the NOx remediation, the community air protection, the Carl Moyer funds. So all these are going to be commingled into one solicitation. First come, first serve for projects.
I see what you're saying.
And as they apply for either an off-road project or a marine project or an ag engine or a school bus, we're going to be funding it from these pots, essentially.
Okay, thanks.
And historically speaking, when we do our traditional call for projects, whether it's under the Carl Moyer or the 923 3 funding source, and those 4 sources have been around for a while, we do get more applications than we have funding for. So we anticipate with a broad outreach to all of the different entities that are eligible for funding, we will likely get requests for more funding than what we have available.
Anybody else? All right. Can I get a motion to move item 3?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Director Hartman?
Aye.
Adam? Sierra?
Aye.
Clark?
Aye.
Bennett?
Aye.
Lizalde?
Aye.
Mosby?
Aye.
Murillo?
Aye.
Patino?
Aye.
Richardson?
Aye.
Williams?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
And Chair Lavanino.
Aye. All right. Thank you. That moves us to item 10, which is an announcement that for those of you who have a DVR, this meeting will be rebroadcast on Sunday, August 19th at 5 p.m. on Channel 20. What are you smiling about? You got to be watching this. And so that takes us to 11, which is adjournment to 1 o'clock on October 18th.
How many years have you been at it?
Where's me out? Let's see, I got on in 1999, I got a city.
We were in the middle of a meeting.